You can't have it both ways. In this life, there are choices that you have to make. Either you are a saved soul or you're a lost soul. You can't be saved and lost at the same time. Either you are a believer or you're not a believer. You can't be a believer and a doubter at the same time. This stuff is simple, but you never actually hear it. You can't have it both ways. Make a choice. Make a decision. You will either be in heaven one day or you'll be in the lake of fire one day. You can't be in the lake of fire and be in heaven at the same time. You can't have it both ways. But what do we see today? We see people who want to be in the church, but at the same time, they want to be out of the church. We see people who want to be in faith, they want to live by faith, but they still want to doubt, and they want to live in doubt. We see people who want to hang around positive people, they want to hang around the saints, but they also want to be clubbers at the same time. They also want to hang around sinners at the same time. That's what we see. People who want to go both ways. You see a lot of pastors now. They want to be friends with the world and they want to make a lot of money. But at the same time, they want to be friends with the church and they want to do what they should do concerning ministry. But you can't go both ways. The biggest thing you see today, if you're able to recognize it, is that many people want to live according to God's design, but they also want to live according to man's design. They want to do things God's way, but they also want to do things man's way. And you can't choose both. But people who want to do both things and people who want to go both ways, you'll see them on some days and they're all about faith. They got their head up, they're believing, they're trusting God, and they're doing what God wants them to do. But those same people on other days, they don't know what they need to be doing. They're doubting whether they're going to be able to make it or not. And they're not really concerned about what God wants. They're doing things according to man. And they flip-flop between two systems on a daily basis. Some people flip-flop multiple times in the same day. But you can't have it both ways. So if you're going to live by God's system, you have to just make up your mind that no matter what happens, I'm going to stay with God's system. And that's the part that not many people can do. You have to make up your mind that no matter what it looks like, I'm going to stick to what God's system says. I'm going to stick to what the word says. I'm going to stick to what the truth says. I'm going to continue to believe no matter what. And I know that many churches make it seem as if that's easy to do, but it's not easy, because you're going to be faced with that choice in a lot of circumstances in your life. A lot of issues are going to come up where you're going to have to decide, hey, I'm doing it God's way. Just like the children of Israel, they wanted to be delivered. They wanted to come out of Egypt. And as soon as they got out of Egypt, the first problem they faced, they were ready to go back to Egypt. As soon as they faced trouble, they were ready to go back to Egypt. As soon as they had to go through something, they were ready to go back to doing it man's way. They were ready to go back into slavery because of what they were having to deal with or what they were having to go through. You can't come out of Egypt and stay in Egypt at the same time. So what are you going to choose? God's system or man's system? What are you going to choose? God's design or man's design? What are you going to choose? God's way of doing things or man's way of doing things? What are you going to choose? Because you can't go both ways.